In this video, we are going to see how we find the midpoint of two endpoints. When you're given two endpoints, let's say the two endpoints A -4 comma -2 and B is 3 comma 3. So these are my endpoints. My question is, what is the midpoint? Midpoint is the capital M. We need to find what is the midpoint. There is a midpoint formula. You can definitely use the formula. I'm going to show you how you can use your number sense as well as the formula. So let's use the number sense. So I have a line segment. Let's say this is A, this is B. A is -4 comma -2. B is 3 comma 3. Now midpoint, we know that has to be exactly in the middle of the two endpoints. So what cuts the line segment equally two pieces? So these two pieces will be congruent. So now we are at the -4. Now I need to go to 3. So what is exactly in the middle? Okay, when I take how many steps I have to take from -4 to go to -3, how many steps we are taking is from -4, let's use our number line idea. From -4 to 0, I go 4 steps. From 4 to 3, I go 3 steps. All right, so altogether I have 7 steps. So what is half of 7 steps is 3.5. So from -4, I have to take 3.5 steps to go to the midpoint of the x value. All right, so then that case, if you're thinking about number line, -4, 1, -3, 2, 2, 3, -1. But I need to take half. This is 0. I need to take half of it. So I have to be in the middle, which is -1/2. So -1/2 is my x value. From -2 to 3. So this is our x value. These two are, this is our y value. So from -2 to 3, how many steps I have to take from -2 to 3 is I have to take 5 steps. What is half of 5 is 2.5. If I take 2.5 steps from -2, 1, 2.5 a step. That is 1, -1, 0, and this is going to be +1/2. Okay, so that is how you can use your number sense to find the midpoint. What is the formula for the midpoint is x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. That is the midpoint formula. So what is the x1, y1 is, this is our x1, this is our y1, x2, y2. So usually what I will ask the students to do is -4 comma -2, stack them up. And you take the average of the x values, which is -4 plus 3 divided by 2, average of the y values, which is -2 plus 3 over 2. -4 plus 3 is -1 divided by 2 is -1/2. -2 plus 3 is 1. 1 divided by 2 is +1/2. So this is my midpoint. So both ways are correct. Both ways gives us the same midpoint. Let's do this time. Let's not do the fractions. Okay, -1 comma 0, -3 comma -4. So I have A and B. -1 comma 0. B is -3 comma -4. I need to find the midpoint. From -1 to -3, how many steps backwards I have to take is 2 steps. What is half of 2 is 1. From -1 backwards, I'm going 1 step. That means it's going to be -2. Okay, think about it. You're at -1, you need to go to -3. You have to take 1, 2 steps. What is in the middle is -2. That's what we are getting. Let's see the y value from 0 to 4. So you're at 0 and I need to go to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 steps. What is half of 4 is -2. Okay. So our midpoint here is -2 comma -2. So can you use the formula for that? Yes. Let's see. negative 1 comma 0, negative 3 comma negative 4. I take average of the x's, which is negative 1 plus negative 3 divided by 2. Average of the y's, which is 0 plus negative 4 over 2. Negative 1 plus negative 3 is negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. 0 plus negative 4 is negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. If you notice, we are getting the same midpoint value. So I showed you two different ways, and you can choose whatever method you prefer to do. Let's find the midpoint if you are given two endpoints, and this time we are going to graph it. So let's say the two endpoints are negative 4 comma 7, and the another endpoint is 1 comma 1. What is the midpoint? We are going to find the midpoint here. We are going to graph this one. Okay, negative 4 comma 7, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, that's A, and 1 comma 1, that's B. Now let's see what is the slope between these two. Then we have to take a half of it, because we know the midpoint has to be in the middle, has to cut the line two congruent pieces. Let's see how far we are going. 1 2 3 4 5 6. So we are 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, then half of 6 is 3. 1 2 3. So if I go 3, where is my y value here? That's my y value. Right, now let's see how far we are going. 1 2 from the horizontal one. 1 2 3 4 5. What is half of 5 is 2.5. So I need to go 1 2 and a half. So what is my y value? That this is my x value, x value, and this becomes my y value. So the x value is 1.5, so negative 1.5, and my y value 1 2 3 4, this one. Okay, so this is where I'm crossing. This is my midpoint, which is 4. We are going to see how we are going to find the endpoint when you are given one endpoint and a midpoint. So endpoint, your given endpoint is negative 5 comma 4, and your midpoint is negative 10 comma negative 6. Okay, so if you are given an endpoint which is negative 5 comma 4, and let's say that's A, the midpoint you are given negative 10 comma negative 6. The question is, what is the another endpoint? So what is the x and y value? Again, you can use the algebra approach. You can use the formula and set up the formula for the midpoint negative 10 for x value, and the average of x values equals negative 10. Then solve it for x. Or you can use the number sense. Okay, so we are here from negative 5. Here is the x value, here is the x value. From negative 5 to negative 10, how many steps you have to take? From negative 5 to negative 10 is 5 steps. You're going backwards. Okay, so in the number line, if you're at negative 5, you're going to take this way, 5 steps. Then that puts you in the midpoint, negative 10. Then I had to take the same amount because these two pieces are congruent. So take the same 5 steps from negative 10. So you add negative 5, then you do the same. Add negative 5. Negative 10 plus negative 5 is negative 15. From 4, how many steps you have to take to negative 6? So if I'm here at, let's say this is 4. I'm at positive 4 to go to negative 6. How many steps I have to take is 10 steps backwards. So I need to have minus 10. You can say plus negative 10 or minus 10. You subtract 10. 4 minus 10 is negative 6. And you do the same. Minus 10. That gives us negative 16. Or you can stack up and see that also I prefer that method better than this. Okay, this is the midpoint I have. So from negative 5, negative 10 and negative 5, we have these two x values. From here to here, I am going negative 5 steps, backwards 5 steps. Then I do the same thing for my missing one. From here to here, minus 5. That is negative 15. From 4 to negative 6, I need to subtract 10. Then I do the same thing over here. Subtract 10. That gives me negative 16. Okay, so I showed you without algebra here. You can also use the midpoint formula. Midpoint formula is x sub 1 plus x sub 2 divided by 2 equals the x value of the midpoint, which is, let's say that's x now, x value of the midpoint, whatever the midpoint's x value. Okay, so now our x sub 1, x value of the endpoint, which is negative 5, plus another, that's negative 5, another endpoint we don't know. We have to find that. Divided by 2 is, what is the x value of the midpoint is negative 10. We are given negative 10. Okay, negative 10. Then you need to solve it for x sub 2. Multiply 2 both sides. Negative 5 plus x sub 2 equals negative 20. You multiply 2 both sides. Then you add 5, x sub 2 is negative 15. And you do the same thing for the y value. Y sub 1 plus y sub 2 divided by 2 is the y value of the midpoint. We know the y value is 4 plus the second y value, we don't know that yet. And the y value of the midpoint is negative 6. Multiply 2 both sides, we get 4 plus y sub 2 equals to 12.